My name is Neil Patel, and I help companies generate more revenue through digital marketing. Entrepreneur Magazine said I was the #1 marketer in the world, and they also said I created one of the 100 most brilliant companies. I started my first website at the age of 16. I took all the money that I earned from working at an amusement park, and I paid a marketing firm. The marketing firm provided no results, and I quickly learned that I wasn't alone. Out of my frustration and from being broke, I had no choice but to learn marketing. My first client was a power supply manufacturer. I helped them generate another $25 million in sales, and from that point, I realized the power of marketing. I helped everyone that I could, and I built my reputation by being honest and over-delivering. I've helped companies like Google, NBC, Viacom, General Motors, eBay, but nothing's more satisfying than helping small business owners succeed. I founded 4 multi-million-dollar companies, and I've learned all the mistakes that you should avoid. I've written about them on Forbes, Entrepreneur, Inc., Fast Company, and even on my own blogs. It's so awesome to know that colleges from all around the world are teaching my material in their classroom. Over the years, I've received awards from the President of the United States, the House of Representatives, and the United Nations. People believe marketing is expensive and difficult. Fortunately, that's not true. There is a formula. Even if you don't have a technical bone in your body, you can get results. And my mission is to share this formula with you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you guys for coming today. My name is Neil Patel, and we're going to be kicking it off by going over the predictions that we believe are going to happen in 2025 when it comes to marketing based on all the trends and the data we're seeing. So let's dive right in. All right, so I mentioned we're talking about 2025, what to prepare, and how you can do well. My name is Neil Patel. I'm the co-founder of NP Digital. We're a global ad agency. And today with me, I have 2 of my colleagues. Brooke, do you want to give a quick introduction of yourself? And then Rob, you can go next.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Brooke Hess. I'm the VP of Paid Media here at NP Digital, and excited to share some of our upcoming insights with you.
And my name is Rob Tandula. I'm the Director of SEO at NP Digital, so representing the organic side. And similar to Brooke, really excited to talk about what we expect is going to happen and is already happening in some cases in marketing in 2025.
As I mentioned at NP Digital, we're seeing a lot of trends for 2025. We have clients all over the world. We won a lot of awards. And just keep this in mind, because when we're breaking down trends that we're seeing, we're already starting to implement quite a bit of this stuff for our customers, and we're seeing great results from it. So first off, 2024 was a year of big changes in marketing, right? Everyone talked about AI and personalization. People talked about generative AI and what it's done for marketing, specifically creatives and content. People even started talking about Search GPT, which is out and you can go use it. Quick caveat, most people don't know this. A lot of the results from Search GPT are actually pulled from Bing. So whatever they don't have, Bing is providing all of that to them. And there was a lot of surveys done in the past. Most people have found Bing results to be more relevant than Google, but most people are happy enough with Google results where they don't really care to use Bing. But just keep that in mind, because I saw a lot of comments online recently being like, wow, Search GPT has amazing results. I'm like, a lot of it is actually coming from a traditional search engine. Marketers have also been going all in with video. You're seeing it with long form video, short form video, people just busting out their phones and recording. TikTok, buying on TikTok, product discovery, that's been huge. And consumers are increasingly being concerned more and more about privacy. Google decided to retract what they're doing with cookies, but nonetheless, people are still concerned, and we don't really know what's going to happen to marketing from a privacy standpoint over the next few years, because it's very reliant on governments and platforms, but we have some insights at least on it. If you also think about channels, we now rely on omni-channel marketing. It used to be where you can build a business off of one channel. Dropbox grew through invite your friends on social media, right? Tweet this out, share it on Facebook, and we'll give you more free space. Facebook grew just by saying, hey, send out email blasts. We're going to invite all your friends by scraping your address book. And boom, Yelp grew through SEO. All these channels have become super saturated and competitive. They still work, but they're super saturated and competitive, and it's hard to build a business or marketing just off of one of these channels. On the flip side, if you leverage many of these channels, you can do well in the long run. And as you can see, SEO is still the king when it comes to ROI, and so is email marketing and paid ads, and a lot of these channels are still extremely effective. You also have to keep in mind attribution is getting harder. I'm on an iPad right now. You guys can't tell because I'm using the iPad for this webinar. But I can also pull out my phone and do a search. And then maybe I go and buy on my iPad, or I go back to the website on my iPad, sign up for an email. Then when I'm home back in the States, I'm in Germany right now, but when I'm back in the States, maybe I buy on my laptop. It makes attribution really tough because not only are we using a lot of channels, we're using a lot of devices, which is making the problem worse and worse over time. And you're also seeing that things are really changing of what people are like, okay, this is really effective in 2024. For example, if I asked you in 2020 or 2021, people would have been like SEO, paid ads. In 2024, you have a lot more people going to in-person events than they did in some of the previous years. A lot of this is because during COVID, people didn't go. Like I'm at an event in Germany called This Is Marketing. They have double the amount of attendees this year than last year. We're talking about 5,000+ people. A lot of what helps is, people are craving more in-person events, especially in a world of AI and human connection being less and less over time. People are actually craving it more, right? Organic social is still there, although the algorithms keep getting tougher. Email's still there, SEO's there. A lot of influencer and partnerships and collaborations have been super effective, extremely high ROI with micro influencers as well. And of course, what took center stage this year was AI. Anyone in marketing who hasn't tried AI, there's something wrong. We all use it. Now, the real question is I ask you to ask yourselves and give yourself an honest answer. You're using AI, but have you actually seen an increase in traffic, lead, sales, revenue, profit from actually using AI? Most people will answer no when it comes to generating more revenue from AI. They're saying it's cool, they're able to do a lot of stuff, and AI is great, but if it's not improving your main KPIs, which stands for key performance indicators, right? The amount, whatever's important to your business, and in most cases it's revenue. If you're not seeing revenue go up and profit go up, well then are your AI efforts being wasted? It doesn't mean AI is a waste. It means you could just be focusing on the wrong things. And of course, the one I love talking about, people love using AI for copywriting. It has been super popular for email copywriting. I remember my team tried to get me to record a script. I was asking Salo, they send the videographer to my house and they're like, oh, you got to record the script. I started reading it in front of the camera because we have a teleprompter. I'm like, well, this is terrible. Did AI write this? So I call Salo up. I'm like, this is like one of the worst scripts ever. Where'd you get this from? He's just like ChatGPT, and I'm like, dude, don't ever give me a ChatGPT script. I had to rewrite it on the fly, but people are using AI for a lot of these channels. They're not always seeing the results, but they are using it for it. And people are going to be skeptical at the same time, right? Only a quarter, 26% of consumers say they trust organizations to use AI responsibly. I don't blame them. People are always worried about stuff that they can't see. We're seeing companies starting to use AI chatbots and not letting people know it's AI. That's not the right thing to do. You want to be transparent, or else it can backfire in the long run. So things aren't going to slow down in 2025. People are like, 2024, you've had a lot of changes. You're going to actually see changes coming at even a more rapid pace. So the question is, how do you prepare, and what should you prepare for? Which we're going to go over. We're going to go over the 16 marketing trends to watch in 2025.
Cool. And I'm going to start out with the first couple trends. And one of the largest trends that we're seeing even now is the idea of doing more with less, right? Especially with the advent of AI, fallout from COVID, economic uncertainty. We're seeing that budget and lack of resources are some of the top listed challenges for marketers and companies. And that forces us as marketers to find new and creative ways to keep delivering the same level of results or even more results with less money, less budget, maybe even less people at your disposal. So definitely a big trend that we're seeing now, and we expect that to continue in 2025 as well. And it's not only, expectations on marketers, but customers themselves are having higher expectations than ever, right? There's less margin of error, and it's shrinking, right? 38% will decrease spending on a brand after a bad experience, and 15% will stop doing business with a brand altogether. So the barometer is getting higher, the bar is getting raised, even though there are less resources and budgets are tighter than ever before. So again, doing more with less is hitting us from a lot of different angles as marketers, both from the business side and from the consumer side. Trend number 2, and this has been one that's been a trend for a long time, but we're really starting to see it pick up even more. SparkToro, so Rand Fishkin did a study that showed that in the United States, about 60% of searches result in 0 clicks to your website, right? This is because Google wants to keep users on Google. There's overcrowded SERPs with map packs and image carousels and e-commerce SERPs. Google doesn't necessarily want you to click onto a website because it's taking you off their platform. They're trying to deliver the answers and AI overviews right in the SERP, so you don't have to go anywhere. You can see all the products, you can see images. Again, this has been a trend for a very long time, but it's starting to get even more and more serious with the advent of AI overviews, in addition to all of those other SERP features that have been around for a while. And perfect segue here, right? Just the advent of new formats and features, right? So about 16% of Google SERPs show more images. 62% of all Google searches now include video carousels. There's AI overviews, there's map packs. There's so many things which make it more attractive for users to stay on SERP. There's no argument that this isn't more helpful, but what does that mean for business owners and marketers? It's getting harder and harder to get eyes on your actual website because Google is pulling that content from your website or from other places and delivering it to people right within the search engine result page when you click that initial search button. Another trend that we're really seeing explode this year is the advent of new search platforms that work in tandem alongside Google. I think it's important to note here that Google isn't dying by any means. In this graph, you can kind of see that Google's market share actually increased slightly, even while all these other platforms are increasing as well. So you have, Search GPT, which Neil just talked about, Perplexity, all these different new search engines that are coming up, and they're growing exponentially for sure. So it's going to play a role, but I wouldn't say that Google is going anywhere. It just means that you're going to have to worry about more platforms, optimize for more places, check referral traffic in your analytics and see how many users are reaching your site from all these different places, and really just start thinking of expanding your net as all of these new search platforms are new and they're growing quickly. As Neil said, will Search GPT kill SEO? Search GPT definitely has some advantages right now. As Neil said, it also pulls a lot of information from Bing, so it still relies heavily on normal search engines. And Google still holds over 87% of the US search market. They also own YouTube, so they still have, a corner on the market in terms of search. So it's unlikely it's going to surpass Google anytime soon, but it's going to work in tandem, and you're going to want to test, see what results you get on both, and make sure that you're optimizing and thinking about both platforms. And there's going to be a lot of disruptions over the next couple of years, right? Consumers' expectations are changing for more streamlined and efficient answers. They're going to want generative AI in search, right? SGE, Copilot, Search GPT. They're going to want AI generated content, right? They want the answers quicker and faster than ever, kind of like we talked about doing more with less. People also want to see the information provided quickly, and they want to see it, directly in their SERP where they can access it. So lots of disruptions in SEO expected in the next 2 years. Doesn't mean SEO is dead, right? These LLM models still need to find this information from somewhere so they can, push it live to users. So you're still going to need to create that information and, worry about ranking for this type of stuff. But, users are expecting more. And that's definitely the case with AI and information directly in SERPs. Another trend, right? Search everywhere optimization, SEO is evolving, right? You can't just show up on Google anymore or Bing or Yahoo. You have ChatGPT to worry about, Search GPT, you have YouTube, TikTok, the App Store, all of these different channels, right? To Neil's point earlier in the conversation, right? Each of these channels is so saturated, you have to make sure you have visibility in all these. You can't just do solo channel strategy. You have to be thinking omni-channel. And for a lot of brands, you want to show up across a variety of different places and take up all the SERP real estate that you can across all these different platforms. And kind of like we had mentioned before, right? The messy middle is getting even messier in terms of attribution. You might search on your phone somewhere and go on YouTube and then go back to your iPad and then you're on Google and then on your phone, now you're on TikTok, right? It's going to be really hard for people to understand where the actual conversions are coming from. And it's moving away more from a keyword-based search to discovery, right? You might be seen on one of these platforms and complete your journey on another platform, or start your journey here and then complete it over there. So, as language models start to understand semantics a little bit more, and as attribution gets a little bit messy across all these platforms, you're going to want to be discoverable across all these places, even if you're not sure, what the tipping point was to get someone to use your product or service. You're going to want to be visible there, because at the end of the day, if you're seeing more conversions and more people come to your site, you know that you're doing the right thing. Like we were talking about, right? You just have to expand your reach, right? Not only on AI platforms and Google search and social media, but all across the internet to increase that engagement and make sure that you have broader visibility. So make sure that you're everywhere, right? Across all these different platforms. Make sure you're producing content that fits each platform, right? Something that works on TikTok might not be as good on YouTube, or might not be as good on Google search. And just find stuff that's engaging, right? As long as you're getting eyes on your site and you're getting people to learn about your brand and learn about your products, that's how they're going to discover you. And they, might find you a different way down the line. But as long as you're discoverable, you're putting your name out there, and hopefully they'll come and make a conversion with you. Last trend that I'm going to cover is talking about search to sense leveling up. So kind of redefining traditional search. If we think of old school SEO, right, we think of the number of keywords on a page and how you're saying things, if you're matching exactly plurals or singulars of a word, right? Now semantic understanding and intent recognition is only going to increase with AI. You might not even use the right keyword, but AI knows exactly what you're trying to say. It might be a little bit more conversational, right? You're asking questions, long tail searches, but it's still going to understand what you mean. Similar for image-based search, right? There's so many technologies out there that can deliver a result without even saying one word at all. So this is definitely a trend that we're seeing now, and we expect to continue in 2025. Like we had talked, SERPs are becoming even more visual than they ever were before, with videos and image carousels, map packs, all these things that are designed to attract your attention and that aren't word-based, right? So, 10 plus billion visual searches processed by Google Lens in the last month. Visual search is expected to grow at least 17% in the coming years. So it's not just a big shift for brands, but it's an easy entry to improve your visibility and stand out in search, because Google and other platforms are like Pinterest and even TikTok. It's all visual. Instagram, that's where humans are going. We're visual creatures, so things might not be based on words anymore, and visual search is only going to continue to grow.
And to give you guys a quick idea, when he's talking about the visual search here, no one really talks about Google Lens and what they're doing here. But to give you a perspective, it's probably close in popularity to something like ChatGPT, right? It's just like, it's nowhere near talked about, but has a usage that something like ChatGPT has, because ChatGPT is at a few billion visitors a month, right? People may do a few searches within there. Some people don't do any searches, but that's the power of Google Lens. And even when Rob was talking about the voice search, that is going to take over text-based search over time. And if anyone has kids, what you'll find is we as adults grew up with text-based search, and voice got introduced to us. If you're a kid, you are growing up with voice search first because you learn to talk and speak into Alexa and all these devices before you learn how to type or even have a computer. So the younger generation is actually starting with voice search, and voice search is getting better with the implementation of AI into all these devices. And that is going to be the norm for them. And they're going to think we're crazy by searching, by typing something out on a computer or a phone.
Absolutely. And like, hit the nail on the head right here with voice search, right? There's more than 100 or 1 billion searches every month that are done via voice. Like Neil, I have a child too. We have a Google Home in his room. I'll say like, hey, put on his lullabies, or hey, do this, that, and the other thing. So he's already hearing that we're talking with, these types of tools, and they're giving results, right? So that trend is only going to continue. And under the context of, more contextual, non-keyword based queries, so that all this stuff is very conversational, right? I'm not thinking about keywords to try and influence. I'm just saying, hey, find me this thing, or, based on a search I just did, can you give me a follow-up, right? So longer tail queries and kind of that semantic relation is only going to increase, not only for our generation, for younger generations. And as you can see, on the stats there to the right, it's only going to increase, and that number is already high as of today. And this is what I was alluding to before, right? Conversational marketing is only going to get more sophisticated, right? Just like users are expecting more with less, they're expecting answers quicker, and they're just going to use the regular tone of voice and everything that they use to talk with friends and family, right? So conversational marketing, it can increase conversion rates, right? And that's how people are thinking and talking about things. And by 2025, 95% of customer interactions will happen through conversational marketing AI. So think chatbots on site, support threads, and things like that, where you're asking a question, how do I do this, that, or the other thing, and you're getting an answer back. This type of trend is only going to increase in 2025. I'm kind of setting myself up here, right? Better engagement, enhanced personalization, and 24/7 support, right? These are just examples of conversational marketing in action, right? Engaging forms and chatbots on your site. We work with clients all the time who ask us about chatbots, and it's like, yeah, if you can give consumers the answer right there without them having to wait for someone to call them back or for them to get an email or something like that, it's going to improve the user experience on site. And we think that people are only going to expect this quick answer, right in their face when they need it, trend to continue. And brands are going to have to adapt and make sure that they can deliver that type of information that's accurate, quick, and efficient.
All right, trend number 6, the customer journey will become seamless. Right now, when you look at these devices, they're being connected more and more together. The platforms are starting to talk with each other, even if they're not owned with each other. Like Amazon is plugging into some of these social platforms, and they have partnerships. By the interactions all getting more and more connected, what's going to happen is the user journey is going to be more seamless, easier, and it's going to make it easier for people to sell online and conversions go up, right? Just imagine you're on TikTok now. What's happening is you can see products you discover, you click a button, it buys, it automatically fills in your shipping information, and boom, you're off into the races. It's kind of crazy how it works. And you're going to see more and more of this. Just wait till they integrate it into live, and people can start selling by going live, and others can comment or click a button, and they also make a purchase as well. You also want to turn your inbox into a powerhouse. So talking about seamless experiences, you can use Zamo to sell through email and have it just blend in. Like here's the example, right? You can send an email with a product, and they can literally click a button and buy all within the email and not go to your website. And it's just a seamless user experience. Even with products, they can select the size of the product and the color all within email, and it just flow like they're in Gmail or Outlook and not really be disturbed or see a drop in conversions by them going to your website. One of my favorite trends when it comes to this experience that's all fit together is this phygital experience. The experience that most people can relate to is McDonald's. Not a fan of their food, but let's go with McDonald's, just health-wise, although kids love it. You go there and they have these monitors and you can order from a digital screen, and it's really easy. I was in Dubai a few weeks ago or a month ago or something like that. It all blends in because I'm on the road so often. Like I'm in Germany right now and I head to, I think, Saudi Arabia in a few days. But when I was in Dubai, I was at one of their malls and they had the store, I think it was H&M or something like that. You could literally click on the monitors and it'll show you all the different kind of products they have and where they're located, because they had a few H&Ms. I think it was like 2 or 3 kids, men's and women. But it was a really cool user experience. And you're also seeing the platforms blend in with each other. So Google is starting to look more like Amazon with comparisons and reviews and ratings, and LinkedIn is starting to look like TikTok and Instagram. I was on LinkedIn the other day and it just keeps trying to get me to swipe for more videos. I'm like, I'm not here to watch entertaining content on LinkedIn, but I get what they're trying to do. The platforms are all trying to blur and copy each other's features, because with a lot of the government rules in the US and Europe, they can't just buy each other out, which you would have seen happen if they wouldn't have these monopolistic laws. And that is trend 7. Trend 8, AI will shift from generating content to making efficient use of data. People talk about AI and content generation. We did a study with, I believe, 68 websites, 744 articles, half AI, half human written. The AI one still had human intervention because it wasn't good enough. After 5 months, we saw the human written content get 5.44 times more traffic on average from organic search than AI. You start thinking about ads. We also ran an experiment with, I forgot the budget amount, but I think it was like $6 or $7 million with ads. We use AI and humans to create ads. Humans won. We took the winning variations of humans, ads, creatives, popped it into AI, told them to create variations of it, and boom, it ended up creating more variations of that, and that eventually ended up winning, which was AI combined with humans. What you're going to see is writing content isn't a crazy skill. It's not an expensive skill to pay people. AI sure can do it fast, but it's not always great. But what you're seeing is data. We have tons of data and not enough companies are leveraging the data and making decisions in real time. Depending on the source that you look at, some say 80 billion, some say 100 billion, some say 60 billion. These are the rough dollar amounts that are being thrown out for ad wastage online. Just think about that for a minute. Using data to help stop a lot of that bleeding can make companies more efficient. That saves way more money than using AI to write content versus humans. And a great example, we won an award for this. We use AI for research and data analysis for University of Technical Institute. This helped us optimize our content based on all the geographies and regions that they had, because there were around 200 plus optimized local web pages with images, data, video, schema markup, the list goes on. And we were able to grow 411% increase in year-over-year organic search sessions for new program expansion efforts, as well as an 18% increase in organic search inquiries year over year. And this was after a double-digit loss in the previous period. So we made up a lot of traffic by using AI for research for localized content creation pages. And again, we did a lot of the research, sent it to humans, humans cranked out the content. Trend 9, AI will make personalization even smoother. It's hard to personalize for everyone. I know Walmart has bought quite a few companies around personalization. They even have like a labs section of their company, and they struggled to create amazing personalized experiences. But now with AI, it's going to be easier and easier. And 73% of consumers prefer brands that offer personalized shopping experiences versus brands offer generic ones. Like, I don't have a dog. Amazon doesn't show me dog information and dog food. It would be useless. I wouldn't buy anything. It would just piss me off on the experience and I'd go to a different platform. But with hyper personalization, It requires things like real-time analysis. You have to create personalized content, not just for a website, but also for email messages, personalized adapting messages for things like chatbots. You can focus on different verticals. But the thing to keep in mind is hyper personalization at scale. We're not really seeing that much of a boost in conversions versus just personalization. Like, yes, you want it to be super personalized, but you don't want it to be too personalized where it gets creepy, right? Think like helpful versus creepy. You don't want someone to visit your website and think of it as like creepy, like a stalker. You want them to think of it as helpful. So sometimes we're seeing hyper personalization backfire, just as a heads up. A great example of someone who personalizes and they segment really well is Fitbot. They use AI to analyze your sleep patterns, your activity, your stress, and then they personalize, different coaching tips, workout tips, all to make your life better. And it's worked out really well for them, and it creates a lot of word of mouth marketing, which is the best form of marketing. It's actually not SEO, it's not paid ads, it's not social media, it's people just talking about it, word of mouth. Trend number 10, the B2B marketing, it's going to get personal. And here's the example. When you look at that guy right there, what do you think? Suit, works at a corporation, is really buttoned up, but that's not really the case. As you can see here, he enjoys motorcycles, he enjoys tattoos, he enjoys watching videos of rock shows. Don't let the cover deceive you. There's more inside to a person than just what you see on the outside. And it doesn't mean that they're not that buttoned up person. People can have many different personality types, hobbies, interests, and you got to adapt to the deeper layers of people to really target them and get to know them to generate the sale. And you're going to see that more so in B2B that's going to happen versus what it happened prior. It's important because in B2B, long sales cycles and typically larger contracts. And the decision-making shift isn't just in the older people. People don't realize millennials now make up 75% of the business buying teams. And eventually that's going to be Gen Z. It's just a question of when. And they prefer personalized offers and they value authenticity. And what I mean by valuing authenticity, 10 plus years ago, when we saw commercials made for Super Bowl quality or Olympic style or FIFA World Cup, they did really well. But now when someone just takes out their phone and records something and puts it online, people feel that's authentic. And we're actually seeing conversions for that higher than the highly produced stuff. A great example is that our organization, we run a commercial of tons of people who look like me, Neil Patel. They're wearing bald caps, both guys and females, and they're running around the office dressed up as me. We spent hundreds and thousands just on the commercial. Then we spent so much more on just ad buys. And none of those campaigns converted as well as my team just taking random videos of me talking into a camera that they just took from Instagram or TikTok that, those videos weren't even created for ad purposes, and they just did better. Why? Because people felt they were more authentic. And this is why you need to build long-term relationships. If you look at what's happening with authenticity, people want real stuff. They want to buy from people they can relate to. They want to buy from people that they can get to know. There's less and less that separates companies from others, right? People have tons of options. And long-term relationships is what's going to help you set yourself apart. You want to understand the specific needs and goals a business has, your customers have. You want to focus on personalization. You want to focus on delivering value even after you got that transaction and help them out. Why? Because they're going to recommend other people to buy from you, other businesses to buy from you. They're going to spread the word. This is how you really grow a business and generate a lot of demand with marketing in the long run.
For our 11th trend, it really highlights how shopping ad formats and search are changing. They're becoming more visual, more interactive. They're leveraging AI to provide a more personalized shopping experience online. Google recently rolled out a few new formats of their shopping ads, including the 360 product views for the 3D shoe spins, virtual try-ons, as well as shoppable video. And these new ad formats and AI features enable advertisers to showcase their products and deals to shoppers in an effort to improve engagement rates, higher quality leads, and overall sales. And these search results are becoming increasingly more visual to incorporate photos and videos. So newer, oh, I'm sorry, back to the slide. Newer campaign formats like Performance Max and Demand Gen use all image and video assets you provide to advertise the most relevant products and messages based on the individual user who's searching or consuming content across the Google and Microsoft ad networks. But Google and Pinterest, as we mentioned earlier, they're really leading the way in visual search with their Lens products to help identify elements of a photo taken by a user, such as an object, text, products, or even landmarks. And Google said that there's nearly 20 billion searches throughout Lens each month, with 20% of all Lens searches being shopping related. So shopping ads will appear above and alongside visual search results in Google by the end of next year. And with augmented reality ads, advertisers can also overlay digital visual elements and sounds in a real world setting, which offers real-time interactions with products. So voice ads are not anything new, as we chatted about earlier, but they're gaining more traction as consumers adopt Siri and Alexa, any type of hands-free technology. Long tail search queries are coming from voice search. They've been visible in our search results reports for quite some time now, but advertisers can begin to adopt more conversational keywords in search that align with the natural language to offer more personalized and interactive experiences for consumers. The next trend advertising platforms are doubling down on is AI integration into their campaign formats. So platforms like Meta, TikTok, LinkedIn, Snapchat, they're shifting away from advertisers being able to maintain control of their campaigns manually, and they're pushing them towards automated campaign optimization. So this includes things like adjusting creative or ad placements, and even who they're targeting in terms of an audience based on the real-time signal from a user during the bidding process. And in fact, 15 million ads were created in just 1 month using generative AI production tools. So we don't expect this trend to slow down, especially as more and more platforms offer this AI integration into their ad campaign options. Also, privacy topics are not new to advertisers, but this next trend is going to require even more consent from users as we head into 2025. Users want their ad experiences personalized, but they have to be willing to provide the new FCC one-to-one consent to each company. That's going to start at the end of January when it comes to sending out messages via text or phone calls from an advertiser. These advertisers will be required to obtain and retain prior written consumer consent if you're using a robocall or robotext technology for marketing purposes. So make sure to be aware of this new FCC requirement when you use these tactics to advertise in 2025.
You want to know what's funny when it comes to laws and privacy? I know the elections are happening today, but I'm neutral. I'm pretty much in the middle. Typically, that's how I fall. But I have gotten, no joke, probably 30 to 40 text messages a day from both candidates or their teams telling me to vote, and I keep clicking stop, unsubscribe on my text, and they just keep sending them from different states: Virginia, Pennsylvania, Nevada. I'm like, I live in California. You guys all got the wrong state. I get so many calls and I get so many text messages a day. I'm like, you guys should follow your own privacy laws and rules.
Hopefully that will change next election time, Neil.
Well, I'm hoping by tomorrow I don't get any more texts, but I'm getting literally like so many texts a day, just blows up my phone.
Exactly. I think we're all experiencing that right now.
Yeah.
In terms of what brands should be doing, really making sure we're relying on what is called zero-party data. This is data that consumers are willing to share with brands to better tailor their ad and website experiences while still respecting their privacy. So as Neil mentioned earlier, don't be too creepy, but still leverage what you can, what you know about a user based on what they provide to you. Neil also mentioned earlier our next trend, the 14th trend, ties social content to shopping as it becomes the new storefront. Social commerce revenues are forecast to surpass $1 trillion by 2028. So this trend is only going to continue to grow. Influencers are at the forefront of this content and product discovery. They are the primary source for users to discover this new content and new products across different social platforms. They'll take a more prominent role in 2025 when it comes to fostering direct sales, using advanced video formats, and also leveraging interactive shopping features to encourage purchases. And live streaming across social platforms offers influencers the opportunity to promote products live. With an easy click to buy option rolling out globally in the next year across multiple platforms, live shopping is expected to become the norm.
And they're going to push live video even harder because they're going to be getting a cut. So trend 15, integrating channels for consistency and synergy. Using 2 or more channels in a campaigns led to 166% higher engagement rates. We ended up working with Expedia Canada a long time ago. We were doing an interesting study that we ended up finding and they shared with us. Even though people are familiar with the Expedia brands, when they leveraged multiple channels, they integrated these channels together. All of them rose by more than 10% when it came to ROI. That's huge, right? So you want to have these channels work together and be quote unquote omni-channel versus multi-channel where you're just using the channels, but they're operating separately. And increased awareness affects SEO performance. So when you're leveraging omni-channel and you're using these channels together and they're synergizing and helping you accomplish your main KPIs, what you'll find is you get more brand queries. That's people going on Google and typing in your brand name. 7 of the top 10 queries on Google are brand names: Amazon, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Gmail. You guys get the point. Those actually are in the top 10 the last time I checked. Although this year's report could be different, but brands matter. So the more people that type in your brand name on Google and click to your site, that's really important. You need to have a high click-through rate. You'll find that your rankings for all your other pages typically goes up as well. And this is why cross-platform visibility is super important. And search engines, they factor in social content. As mentioned earlier from one of the SEMrush charts, video carousels are predominant in more than 60% of the search queries. And we're seeing similar stuff with our Ubersys data. What's really interesting is people engage with videos more than any other type of content when it's ranked above the fold. Like if Google ranks a video and text above the fold, even if text is higher, more people click on the video than anything else from what we've seen. Trend 16, building a strong brand based on values. What's separating you from your competition? We think the only moat left in business is your brand. People can copy you, release the same features. The real only moat that you have in the long run is brand. What separates Jordan shoes from the others isn't the quality. It's the logo and people disliking Michael Jordan, right? That's the power of a brand. And being real and relatable, we talked about being authentic earlier, really helps you build a brand. No one wants the company generated version of an ad. People want the authentic influencer version, and it doesn't even have to be from an influencer. It's just real and it's more relatable. It's just like no one wants to see Neymar or Cristiano Ronaldo in an ad that's highly produced. They rather just have Cristiano Ronaldo breaking out their phone and be like, I used to have this problem with my body. I use this soap. Check out my skin now. Here was before. You got to check this soap out. This soap is amazing. And look at all these rashes that are gone or whatever, acne or whatever you want to end up pitching, right? That's more relatable versus a highly produced campaign. It's just like when Kylie Jenner is like, I got some big news to announce, or one of the Kardashians. And then eventually she announced, I have acne and I use Proactiv or something like that. And people are like, we don't care for this. It's obvious this is paid. Give us something authentic and real. You also want your marketing to have purpose and integrity. Coca-Cola is a great example. They showed their logo crumbled up because they want more people to recycle. Starbucks has a page on putting people first, talking about the environment or sustainability or social equity. It matters to a lot of people and organizations. And if that's important to your customers, you need to leverage this more and be relatable, or else you're going to lose these people to your competition. So that was the 2025 trends. If you need help implementing any of these or any other marketing issues that you may need help with, you can scan that QR code with your phone. You just bust it out, take the camera, scan it, and you can end up booking a call with anyone on our team. We would love to work with you and help you grow. In addition to that, we also have an upcoming webinar that you can see on the next slide. I believe it's on the next slide, which is happening November 19th at 8 a.m. Pacific time. It's marketing on a budget, strategies that work without breaking the bank. Especially going to holiday seasons, we want to cover some budget-friendly strategies that provide amazing results. If you want to register for that webinar, again, you can just take out your phone, scan the QR code, and boom, you're off to the races and you'll be registered. So now let's dive into some questions. Colin.
Good stuff, everybody. Hello, happy Tuesday, happy election day here in the US. Lots of questions. I'm going to actually start with the very last one because I think that I saw it 5 or 6 times in the last 20 minutes. Rob and or Neil, any quick tips to get better visibility in AI search, whether it's AI overviews on Google, Search GPT, what should we be thinking about? Do the old SEO sort of best practices still apply there? What's your cheat sheet, if you will, to get visibility with all these AI applications that are out there? Maybe we start with Rob and then Neil, you pile on.
Cool, sounds good. I mean, a lot of the similar tactics that you're going to use for SEO are going to apply to AI overviews, right? You want to build your authority, getting linked from places, building your brand. You're going to want to write content that answers questions fully, but is also concise and pulls out the key points and is structured well. You're going to want to do a lot of the same things in SEO for AI overviews and crossover too with voice search as well, kind of like we talked about. Imagine that you're writing for rich snippets and having key points listed near the top of your articles. But yeah, there's a lot of crossover. I think Search Engine Land or something did a study, and it was like, in 90% of SERPs, the links that are pulled out in AI overviews also rank within the top 10 of search results. So that means that SEO and optimizing for AI are very similar. There's obviously going to be some small differences, but in general, you're going to want to focus on a lot of the same things. Then Neil, if there's anything you want to add there.
Yeah, when we looked at what ChatGPT was recommending, a lot of it was they're pulling based on sites that have amazing reviews, amazing ratings, reviews being like other websites talking about them, ratings being, their star rating, let's say 4.7 stars out of 5. The other things that they're looking at is age. Google also looks at age. But yeah, a lot of similar factors. Brand mentions, how many times is a brand or product mentioned around the web? It just shows that people are talking about it, hopefully in a positive light. My guess is they're able to pull signals or sentiment to see if it's positive or negative. But yeah, these are some of the factors.
So we also talked about optimizing for voice and visual search. Do those same tactics, strategies, Rob, sort of apply for voice search? Like, should we be creating more Q&A type content if mostly people are asking questions to Alexa or Google Home? Any tips or thoughts there? Because that came up multiple times as well.
Totally, right? Like we talked about in the intro or in some of the earlier sections, the conversational phrasing, right? Like Q&A, FAQs, like think of how people would ask a question using voice search, right? It's going to be a little bit more conversational. It might not use the exact keywords. It might use variations, right? You also want to answer questions directly, right? Especially near the top of the page, you can, like I said, in FAQs, using schema markup, right? There's, all these different things that you can mark up your page and really let search engines know that these are questions and answers or what the information on the page is. So lots of crossover there for voice search. And then you mentioned image search as well, right? A lot of the same factors, right? Like you want to make sure you're using high quality images, you're using alt text, you're using structured data. A lot of the nuts and bolts of SEO, again, are are still going to be very similar here. So you just want to make sure that you pay attention to those, and it will help you rank for both these types of formats and AI as well.
Search everywhere optimization, all that stuff applies to Bing, which was a question as well. So yeah, optimize for everywhere. Let's see here. Brooke, I don't know if you saw me drop this question in the chat earlier, but we talked about doing more with less. The UTI case study that we showed earlier in the presentation was actually an earned media one. We've got a paid media one that's all about doing more with less. As budgets tighten, what strategies can businesses use to ensure that their marketing spend is as effective as it possibly can be? Any tips or tricks to get more with less when it comes to the paid media side of marketing?
Great question. When you're on a budget, we would always recommend from a paid media perspective, starting off with the bottom funnel. Where are people actively searching for your brand? If that becomes voice search, if it is standard search, that is probably the number one place that we would recommend to start. However, we did talk a little bit about attribution. And once you tap out of the people looking for you, you have to push your message out to people who are willing to buy, and maybe they just don't know your brand. So having that omni-channel marketing approach is really where the magic comes in. You're mixing people who are already going to buy your products and searching for your products with also messaging out to people who could best benefit from your products. So a mixture of different types of tactics from an ad perspective is the way to go. Add in SEO on top of it, and you've got a full omni-channel marketing approach.
Boom, and that's the end goal, right? But Neil and lots of SMBs always tune into our webinars. Question for you: with so many channels and everything that's going on, what are your thoughts on where a small business should start? Because clearly, when there's a founder or an owner that's also the CMO and the CFO, what channel should that CMO, that founder, that CFO, where should they start? Do they start small with organic? What are your thoughts there?
First, look at your skill sets. What do you think you're naturally the best at? That'll help you decide what channel, because most of these channels work for most type of businesses. Second is, where are your competition? What are the channels where they're focusing on heavily? You may want to start with those first and combine with your skill sets. So the way I like looking at it is skill sets, where my competition going? Now you have a rough idea of what channels to start off with first, but that still may be too many. And I look at it as spaghetti. You know, with spaghetti, you cook it, you throw it against the wall. If it sticks, you know it's cooked. So try a few different marketing channels out. The ones that perform better and are just working with the least amount of effort, focus on those and just ignore the rest. I'm not saying that the rest can't work. It's just double down on the one that's working, scale it up. And then once you get it going, then slowly add in the other channels into the mix. But you can do it 1 by 1 or 2 by 2. And then once you're pretty scaled up, you're generating more revenue. And then you can add in people to help you maintain and grow those channels even further.
Awesome. Great response. Let's go to Rob and/or Neil. Just launched, but initial thoughts on Search GPT? It's available to most, if not all. Like, what do you think? Are the results any good? I mean, myself personally, I think the local results are not so great. Do you have any thoughts on what are your first impressions of Search GPT? And then there's a follow-up, like, when are they going to monetize it? And when are we going to start seeing ads? So maybe we, again, start with Rob for his thoughts, and then Neil and Brooke, I don't know if you've got anything else to pile on there as well.
Yeah, I've only tested with it a little bit, but like you, Colin, I wasn't impressed by the local results. And, that's going to be important for a lot of local businesses, right? You want your map packs, searches that are close by you. And I think what it excels at is what ChatGPT already kind of excels at now, right? Some of those long form answers, complex questions. I like asking it like math questions and things like that. I think Search GPT does a really good job of those. So your how-tos, your step-by-step processes. It does a really good job of that, but struggles a little bit more on the local business side and finding things that are maybe, closer by in your area. Those are kind of my initial reactions.
Neil, any thoughts?
Yeah, so few thoughts. One, the results are okay in some areas, but there's a lot of edge cases where it's not that great. Local's an example. When you're trying to find products to buy, there's just a lot of random edge cases, but that's search. Like try searching for flights on Search GPT. It's not that great. But when you look at a lot of these options, what you'll find is, or these queries, you as a user type in these edge cases all the time. You just don't realize it. I believe around 40+% of the search queries are local queries, 8% are questions. It really excels at questions. Overall, I think Google is still dominant and much better. We run a lot of surveys. We've been producing a lot of charts that you can see on Twitter. If you follow me, we're starting to put them on LinkedIn and Instagram and stuff. What's interesting is we're seeing a lot of people tell us that Google is implementing ChatGPT. Interesting stat, Google talked about how 1 billion+ people use their AI platform, right? Because AI overviews are in quite a bit of search results. 1 billion+ users. And people are now starting to tell us when we're talking to them, yeah, we love using ChatGPT. We see it integrated into Google all the time. And I'm like, that's not Google, but all right, And I do think Google will end up coming up on top and just still have the lion's share of the search market. Because for most people, its version of AI overviews or whatever you want to call it, because they keep changing the name, it answers most questions extremely well.
Yeah. There's the AI engines and the LLMs, but there's also a lot of AI website features and tools. Any thought? We talked about personalization and the customer experience. Neil, one more for you. Sorry to put you on the spot again, but how will AI continue to transform the personalization and customer experience of marketing on websites in 2025? Any general thoughts there? We had a couple people asking about virtual try-ons. Do you have any thoughts there? Because it sounds like there's a couple people that are implementing that now.
Virtual try-ons, you're going to see more people experimenting with quote unquote augmented or virtual reality, whatever you want to call it, where people are in this virtual world and they're able to communicate with others. That's going to be more and more realistic with AI. They're going to end up creating a better version of goggles. Meta already has one compared to the Vision Pro. That's going to change marketing. It just needs to be light enough and more affordable enough. Another thing that you're going to start seeing in 2025 with personalization is people who have first-party data, not third-party, but first-party, their own data. They'll be able to personalize more. So I highly recommend businesses collect more first-party data. And then from that, you can delight people, create better AI chatbots, which is going to really boom in the next 12 months. You're also going to see AI agents boom in the next 12 months when it comes to marketing, because you can have some of these AI agents just focus on personalization, which should end up boosting your conversions, especially with ad costs continually rising. It's important to get your conversions up.
Yeah, great response. And we're at the very top of the hour. There will be a replay of the webinar, so everyone will get a copy of that. That was another ask and always is. That's all we have time for, and I think we're good.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you guys for joining. Rob, Brooke, Colin, as usual. And if any of you guys need help with your marketing, check us out at npdigital.com. Thank you, everyone.
Go out and vote. Go out and vote.
My name is Neil Patel, and I help companies generate more revenue through digital marketing. Entrepreneur Magazine said I was the #1 marketer in the world, and they also said I created one of the 100 most brilliant companies. I started my first website at the age of 16. I took all the money that I earned from working at an amusement park and I paid a marketing firm. The marketing firm provided no results, and I quickly learned that I wasn't alone. Out of my frustration and from being broke, I had no choice but to learn marketing. My first client was a power supply manufacturer. I helped them generate another $25 million in sales, and from that point, I realized the power of marketing. I helped everyone that I could, and I built my reputation by being honest and over-delivering. I've helped companies like Google, NBC, Viacom, General Motors, eBay, but nothing's more satisfying than helping small business owners succeed. I founded 4 multi-million-dollar companies, and I've learned all the mistakes that you should avoid. I've written about them on Forbes, Entrepreneur, Inc., Fast Company, and even on my own blogs. It's so awesome to know that colleges from all around the world are teaching my material in their classroom. Over the years, I've received awards from the President of the United States, the House of Representatives, and the United Nations. People believe marketing is expensive and difficult. Fortunately, that's not true. There is a formula. Even if you don't have a technical bone in your body, you can get results. And my mission is to share this formula with you.